National Rock Review here in Nashville, Tennessee, and here I have Jay from Johnny Wore Black. Thank you for sitting here and doing this interview with me. I hope you're just staying here.
Thank you.
So,
should we be honest and just tell people we're doing this for the second time?
Yeah, we're doing this for the second time. The world will know now.
I know.
The world shall know.
Technical issues.
Yep. Alright, so the first question is, what got this all started?
What got this all started? Just a desire to make music, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nothing that ever guided you, just pushed you in one direction.
I think the thing is that some people just have a need to be creative in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
I think lots of people do, and people find that at different times in their lives,
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's painting a picture or taking photographs or or writing poems or
Yeah. And you find yourself being more creative in other areas just than music? Is it other things that you do that inspire your music?
I think just living. Yeah.
Living and experiencing.
Living and experiencing, yeah. I got, I have a little bit of tattoos,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was going to say body art, but I thought that would make sense. And a tattooist once described me as a collector because I've got different things on my body from different parts of my life, different experiences that I've had. And and I think in a way that's an interesting description because I would say the same thing about songwriting, I collect experiences and then try and express them through music.
Well, I've seen that other than music, you have a background in doing some stunt work and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does any way that work inspire your music or
I think in many ways, I don't really see it as musical inspiration, that work.
It's just something
I think it's important to me, and it allows me to express a physical side to myself, and get paid for it. And let's face it, getting paid for stuff is good.
Yeah.
So it has its place, but I don't really associate musical inspiration with stunt work. No.
It's just something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I get in a way, I guess it's like being an actor because the parts or the roles that I get through stunt work come in, and sometimes they can be with a few days' notice, and then I'm busy for a while, or sometimes I can have 2-3 months without working. That's just the nature of the industry. And in a sense, I like the balance between the two.
Between the two albums, Walking Underwater Part 1 and Part 2, there's a different mood between the two of them. And almost like a different, you could say, story being told between the two. One had a different mood and tone than the other. What kind of inspired that and the change in it?
Yeah, I think it was Walking Underwater Part 1 and 2 were almost like a conclusion of a period of my life, a need to finish some songs, to draw a line under them, and in a way, exercise some demons, perhaps, which,
let them out.
Let's face it, that's not unusual in music.
No, not at all.
No. There's probably a few demons in Slipknot, but
probably, maybe multiple.
Maybe, Be an interesting question to ask Marilyn Manson, wouldn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
But so those songs needed to be, from my personal sort of collection, if you like, those songs were ones that I felt needed to be finished and released. And the idea of doing Part 1 and Part 2 was literally once the body of work was completed, it felt like it was just a better release plan to release them separately. And even though at the moment we are producing hard copies which are a double album, I think for the release strategy, having them separately just made more sense at the time.
Yeah, like you were saying before, it kind of tells a story.
Yeah, and I think, you noticed it yourself that there was a difference, and I think Part 2 picked up in energy a little, and was a little bit more driven in a certain way. Part 1 I actually used, I don't know if you noticed that there was some kind of sound bites in between the tracks. But part one was actually using parts of a documentary that my dad directed called The London Nobody Knows, and there was sections in that documentary which were just either the narrator telling a story as he walked around London, or bits of sound effects of London, of boats on the Thames, on the river, and trains and all things like that. And I kind of quite like the idea that sort of it stitched together the album of Walking Under Part One.
The music itself is personal to the artist.
Yeah.
Having that in there is kind of makes it all more personal.
I think so. Yeah, and in a way, I suppose it's a little bit, it's a bit of a Pink Floyd thing, isn't it?
It sounds a little bit like that too in some of the.
Yeah, a bit more of a concept thing, and my dad's not alive now, but he was always very encouraging to me creating stuff, and in a sense, maybe it was a bit of a kind of dedication to him, sort of thing, as well in that,
So what's we're saying how it's kind of telling a story of part one and part two, but what would be a song that in itself tells a mini story, if anything?
Ooh, good question. Hit me with that one again.
If there's any particular song on part one or part two of the albums, is there a song in itself that tells a mini story?
Ooh, I would hope all the songs. A mini story more personal to me, or
more personal to you, or maybe sending a stronger message or a different message. You were talking about how it was something you wanted to complete and kind of finish off.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I really need to think about that. That's quite a deep question. Yeah, but I think that I'll tell you that there are certain songs on the album that are kind of quite close to me that I'm almost more comfortable not listening to.
Yeah.
Having said that, I probably wouldn't sit there and listen to my own album anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, I know that there was a bit of a bit of a journey there.
Yeah. And we were talking about before how you had David from to help you on some of the tracks, and I brought up that question because we were discussing how you guys would go back and forth between writing a verse or a melody, and it's kind of a conversation or a memory in that song.
Yeah.
But right there in itself is kind of a story.
It is, and I think you're right, because even the construction of the song, if that has an interesting moment to it, then that is a story in itself.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I met somebody. Somebody had actually, I'd been kind of double booked on rooms, right? Somebody had organised this suite we're in now, and at the same time, a buddy of mine had organised me on an Airbnb room, in East Nashville, right? Which was cool. So I didn't know where I was going, so I'd never been to Nashville. And some people said, "Oh no, you don't want to be downtown. Go hang out in East Nashville. It's much cooler." I didn't realise that. Never mind cooler. It was really freaking freezing. But anyway, so I went up to Nashville and I met a girl there who had this room. And I said to her, look, as it happens, I've been booked at the hotel as well. And she said, no, you're right, it makes much more sense for you to be downtown. And I said, look, let me take you out for lunch, at least, because, you thought I was booked to stay with you. And so we hung out a little bit and we wrote a song. What a story.
Yeah.
Day one in Nashville.
Yeah.
I meet some country singer and we write a song.
How very exciting.
It's cool. And that song is called Southern Sun. And I want to put it on the album.
And I wish there was a song today.
Yeah.
On this wintry day in Nashville.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
They're just coming down on us. So
so it's nice when there is a little bit of a...
Yeah, when you can hear a song or, revisit a song, you kind of pinpoint that memory, the journey of writing that song. So.
Yeah, but obviously the best songs are not what they mean to me, but the best song is, I put on a song that you've never heard before and you go, oh, that takes me to,
It brings you back to when
whatever,
you smelled that or you tried to do
whatever.
this. So going back to when you were writing the songs with David, how did he help influence influenced the writing or influenced the song itself?
I think for a start, as a bass player, he has a real musicality to the way he plays, and he's very melodic with his bass playing, and I like that. So that, from a musical point of view, that in itself was inspirational. And also just the fact that really David just has a good energy, and we get on. You know, we have a good connection. And I think really for songwriting, those are two things that just are very important. You know, you need to have a good sort of I suppose just like it's more than just a working relationship. That you just need to just kind of get where each other's coming from. And I guess in a sense, you know, ideally when you write a song with somebody, you're both kind of like, you know, little kids for a few minutes, and it's like, wait, I thought about this. How about that? You know, and it's like you kind of forget when it's bedtime. And you just want to keep going. So, you know, so in a sense, it's kind of like that. And then, you know, with specific ones, I think I mentioned to you before about Gift of Desperation, just because that one, you know, again, that was an interesting one because that was very personal to him, because those were lyrics that he'd written about himself. So then to be in the studio singing his words, you know, was also quite an interesting and sort of, you know, I think in some ways bonding experience as well.
You know, when you're writing lyrics that are both personal to you and someone else, you know, you have that connection. You know, we're not just a work relationship.
Absolutely,
You have to be able to understand, you know, why you want these lyrics to say, you know, put out this message.
And I think, you know, the thing is with David, I mean, obviously some of the practicalities, because he's in Phoenix and I'm in London, and because, you know, he's busy with, you know, his musical career in different ways, you know, it's not always the easiest for us to, you know, do what we want to do, but it's just the way it goes, you know. Look, you know, if there's somebody who is inspiring to me, who I think is going to forward Johnny Wall Black as a project, and I can work with them, whether they live in, you know, Melbourne in Australia or in London or here in Nashville, it's cool, just go with it. You know?
So with your the two albums, Walking Underwater Part 1 and Part 2, is there a message that you wanted to send out?
Oh, I was afraid you were going to ask that question. A message to the people.
To the people of the world.
Is there a message?
Or is there, you know, maybe
no, I think people need to take their own message. You know?
Take it as it is.
I think so, I mean, it's so interesting when a review comes in, you know? Because in a sense, that's the spokesperson for the first listen, for the public, isn't it, really? You know? When somebody listens to it and then they bother to actually write down what they think about it, then, you know, that's when I've given it away. It's not mine anymore, it's now yours. You know, sure, you can tell me what you think of it if you like, but
it might not be what you wanted.
No, do you know, I don't even, I think the way I mean it is, you know, I feel that when you write a song and you produce it, release it, finish it, put it out there in the market, then in a sense you really need to kind of, as an artist, you need to move on, you know. So I think the message is really, that process of moving on means people can take their own message from it. You know? It almost doesn't matter what it meant to me. It's what it means to you.
And kind of how it helps you or helps whoever's listening to it.
Or doesn't help.
Or makes them realize something.
Listen, some songs which I listen to, you know, I mean, this is the reality, isn't it? Because some music that I listen to, that just gets me so excited. Like, oh my god, I just love that, you know. And I'm not talking about my own music, I mean other artists. You know, if I put on a really like awesome track from, I don't know, like what have I really liked recently? Oh, whatever it is. But let's say, okay, so the Foo Fighters have got a new album coming out, Okay, Dave Grohl, what a cool icon for rock music, You know, for music in general, that's what you want, you know. He's not trying to be a politician, he's not being all like kind of fucked up and, can I say that? Okay. you know what I'm saying, it's like I'm just taking him as an example, but, you know, you kind of, when there's something about music or the musician that's inspirational and just gets good feelings inside, you know, just gets you kind of, you know, motivated, or even sad, if it's sad music that you're listening to, you know, it doesn't matter. But I just think if there's something to say, once the music's out there, it's then up to the listener to take from it what they want, you know.
Yeah.
And some people aren't going to like it, some people are going to like it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my point is that some songs that I find really exciting and amazing and cool and like, you know, all this stuff, you know, other people are just going to go, wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know. Look, use Metallica as an example, right?
Yeah.
Like, to me, Metallica are an iconic rock band.
Yeah.
Yeah? They do their job very well.
Yeah.
Yeah? And some people just don't get it, do they?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think,
yeah.
So I think in terms of feedback from people and reviews and things like that, you know, you try as an artist, you try and take a little bit of everything, but also it's important not to be too affected by everything that people write. You know, otherwise you bounce back and forwards. You know, you need to somehow kind of have a confidence in your path and know where you want to go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continuing on with the topic of your music and everything, what plans do you have for the rest of 2015? And
okay, I think, I mean, we are at the moment, like the PR team in London, Dead Cherry, and the PR team in New Jersey, Adrenaline. We're at the moment, we're putting together a kind of a timeline. You know, everything's been discussed, and you know, we're just working out details. 2 videos are just about to be finished off. One for a song called Comfy Slippers, which is song number 3 on Walking on the Water Part 2, and also a song, another song, Firefly, which is the first song on Walking on the Water Part 2. So both of those videos have just been finished off because the timeline included some more work on this album, which means just having new things for people to enjoy and other avenues for people to be able to listen to it. And, you know, listen, if I could, I would have a video for every single track I release. Because I think it's just great when people can click onto YouTube and watch as well as listen. Which is maybe partly our conversation about should we do this with video or just audio. You know, I think it's another it's another dynamic, isn't it? So we've got 2 videos coming out over the next sort of 3 months, and the new album, Ultraviolet Light, is being written at the moment. So it's really in its embryonic stage, which is quite exciting because it's all new and
it's all coming together.
Stimulated.
Exciting part. You have a big plan and you can't wait.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit nerve-wracking because to kind of say, well, we're releasing an album in September, cool. We haven't actually got anything yet. You know, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. It's like on one hand, it's like, wow, that's so amazing because everything is a possibility. But on the other hand, it's like, oh, you know, there's work to do as well. Yeah.
Well.
So.
Well, Walking Underwater Part 1 and Part 2 is available on iTunes. And so thank you for coming out and probably being doing this interview again.
You're welcome.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay.
What should we talk about in the 3rd interview? I should interview you.
There we go.
Yeah?